Welcome to another segment of the Self-Love Summit. I'm your host, Mia Sines, and with me this week is Daniel Hill. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Mia.
I've had the privilege of interviewing Daniel before. He's a fun one, very knowledgeable, and it's very cool. He's coming to us from England.
England, yes indeed.
Would you share with us, please, your story on how you got to where you are today, where you help people discover many things about themselves? I look at it as self-love, because when we work on ourselves and we honor ourselves in taking care of us and working through our issues, that's self-love.
Yeah, I'd agree with that very much. I got into it because I'd had 4 years of traditional counseling, and I wanted to feel better, whatever that means, but I knew I wasn't feeling right, particularly. I was wanting to improve myself, and so after 4 years of just talking about how I was feeling, then I started to get into other things that were slightly deeper than what conscious talking was doing, and I started to discover myself a little bit more. So I got into things to do with the unconscious mind and how to change unconscious beliefs and how to accept yourself more and understand yourself, which is what this self-love is all about. And something called the Enneagram really made a lot of sense to me and appealed to me. And the Enneagram gave me tools to transform and accept my personality and my ego tendencies.
And I did a little giggle there because you did one on me before. So I giggled because I know what it is. Can you describe a little more what it is for our viewers? Because there's many people on different levels watching this wonderful summit.
The Enneagram is the study of humanity, and it's as much the study of the sufferings of humanity as well as the transcendences that human beings go through to reach peace or emotional balance or serenity. Basically, the thing that the ego is always looking for. So the ego is always having an agenda and wanting to get to be, and it has a destination where it feels if it gets that destination, then finally it will be. But the Enneagram teaches us that that'll never ever work, and the sufferings for the 9 personalities, of which there are 9 types, are based around the 3 needs of the ego, which are love and approval, security, and control. So you've got 3 personality types with love and approval as their main agenda, 3 as security, and 3 as control. And people often have recognized this, where they'll say, that guy's a control, he's got such a control freak, he's got such control issues, where other people would have love and approval as their main, you could call sin, as their main objective. It's the thing that's always there, and a traditional psychologist would be delving into the psyche of that individual to understand why that individual has such an agenda to be loved and approved of in such a way. Whereas the Enneagram teaches us that it is a mix of our nature and nurture, and it's not that just our conditioning and experiences that will drive us to be certain types. So Ennea means 9, and gram means graph. So it's a graph of 9 types, and they all interrelate and go into one another.
So the Enneagram is basically, you said, not just our conditioning, so not just our social upbringing. It's what
it doesn't. there is a sort of split debate, but my understanding and the individuals that I've spent time around and taught and learned from and have and studied would say that it's not defined by your upbringing. It's not defined by your nurture. It is your nature.
That's what I was going to ask. It's what we're inherently born with.
It's your cloak. You can't get around it. I mean, there are 9 types. There's not a 10th. That some people would say, well, I don't mean any of these 9, but they will do. And so I've explored this for the last 7 years, and I've found it utterly, utterly fascinating. My personality type would, as a 6, as a questioner, so my natural tendency is to question things. So often in this work, it helps me because I'm often questioning the individual's suffering. Why are they suffering in such a way? And often I can very much understand someone's Enneatype and their ego persuasion. And then thus you can help someone be able to guide them towards their opposite tendency, which is always where your transformation is going to be, and what self-love is.
I'm finding this fascinating because yesterday I interviewed a celebrity numerologist who I happen to be friends with, and I was honored to get her. And it's funny because when we talk about numbers, and one thing she said exactly what you're saying is it helps you to realize, kind of put in place who you are or who somebody that you're working with is, and to understand. And although they're different aspects, Enneagram and Numerology, I like that. They're both based on numbers up to 9, and they both help people to realize, they're like me. They're a 4 with wings of 5 and a whatever of 3, and so that's why she acts this way, and it's okay. I understand her.
Yeah, you develop a lot more. You can develop a lot more compassion for other people once you understand it, and also if you understand yourself, that's where the compassion lies as well, as opposed to a lifetime of beating yourself up for having an ego agenda. Every human being has one. They're just on different levels. Where Thich Nhat Hanh, who's meditated all of his life, will have a very, very low level ego. But I'm sure that if he was incredibly stressed, there would be an ego that would come out. But very, very unlikely because he's worked so hard on himself. I don't actually know what ego type he is or what Enneatype he is. But in regards to self-love, to begin, I have respect for numerology and I have respect for astrology as well. I'm Cancerian. I've got a lot of those traits, atypically, but the Enneagram makes more sense to me than anything else I've ever studied, and it's obviously my calling because I love it. Yes. And I think often some people can find that they don't want to be typed, they don't want to be labelled, and they don't want to be boxed. Right. But I've seen so many videos on this and read so much that even some monks who were in training were educated about it, and it actually came from monks at some point and wasn't known into the mass consciousness, because if they were able to understand their Enneatype, then that was their, if you like, sin all of the time that they were committing, in as much as that they were running away from themselves and not trusting in life, love, God, the world, whatever you want, the universe. And so they understood that it was always going to the opposite tendency of whatever was happening, as in terms of the Buddha was a security type more than likely, and probably a 5. And so he did as much as he could to still his mind. And he talked about monkey mind. Now we can all suffer from that, of course, but he was more than likely a security type and a head type. So you're talking about head for security type, heart for love and approval types, and gut for control types. And it's obviously my calling. So that was part of my self-love, to continue to do something even though I was having others tell me that, well, if you're boxing too much, you know, when you use something like NLP or EFT or hypnosis, you can liberate someone and free them from their limiting beliefs. But 7 of the capitalist Christian sins fall into 9 of the types within the Enneagram, and the other 2 types are to do with paranoia and deception. But you have anger, envy, avarice, gluttony, lust, and sloth, and they're all part of the 7 definitive types. And they discovered 2 more, and it's well beyond even my understanding, even though I've studied it intently for 7 years. But once you understand yourself, yes, that can lead to more self-acceptance and self-understanding, which of course is self-love.
Right.